Hi, I'm Lisa Rangel with Chameleon Resumes, the premier executive resume writing company, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today's topic, what we're going to talk about today is how to write your resume to land an executive promotion. Now, this will be right for you whether you are already an executive and need to land another executive promotion, or if you're currently in middle management or upper middle management and you're now looking for that first executive level role. This will be helpful to you. And so the first part that I'm going to suggest that you do to shift your resume to looking like it's ready for executive an executive promotion is first, like I said, it has to look the part. So first is you want to make sure that your resume looks the part. It needs to look like a resume that is suitable for an executive, and you need to look the part before you land the part. So again, whether you're in middle management going for the next level spot in the executive suite, or you're currently an executive, but you maybe haven't updated your resume since college or since like maybe 10, 15 years ago, because you've been either like gainfully employed, promoted, sought after, recruited, so maybe you haven't had to update your resume in a while. You need to make sure that your resume looks the part. Now, you're like, how do I do that? So I have some examples for you. In the description below, I have a link to the Chameleon Resumes website where we have a litany of resume examples that have actually landed executive positions. So you're going to want to check that out. Again, down in the description box below, and you'll be able to see that your resume needs to look like a piece of marketing collateral. That company will take pride in that person, being you, being the executive who is the face of the company and on paper looks the part. So you need to visually demonstrate that your resume looks the part. And then in terms of the content, I want you to follow these next 3 steps that I'm going to include for you. So the second step that you want to include in developing a resume that will land you an executive position is you need to focus on talent. You need to specifically focus on how you have attracted, hired, and led top tier high potential talent. And this is really key, because once you start getting from middle management into an executive role, or if you're again already in an executive role, this. You can't do this alone. You're literally shifting from being a doer to being a leader on this piece of paper, this virtual piece of paper being your resume. And that needs to take place by showing first, again in the second step, that you are able to attract, hire, and lead talent to achieve. And your achievements then need to be written on your resume, not in so much of an I standpoint, but in a how I've led a team to accomplish this standpoint. So that's really what you want to make sure that you're shifting the language in your resume to show how you have, again, attracted, hired, and led high potential talent to accomplish what's needed in the organization. And that's going to be the second step that you're going to do in your resume, to create, again, a resume that will help you land an executive position. The third item that you want to focus on when writing a resume that will help you land an executive role is you want to make sure that in your content of your resume bullets and in your headings, that you show that regardless of what your profession is, whether you are a scientist, whether you are a marketer, whether you are a finance person, whether you're an IT person, whether you're in HR, again, it doesn't matter what your profession is in the particular industry that you're in. You want to show that you understand how to make what you do profitable. And you want to show that you can drive a team, again, attract, hire, lead that particular high potential talent team to then create the work that needs to be done, but in a profitable manner. You want to show that you have a profitability mindset and that you've had one maybe even coming up through the ranks if you're one of those middle managers now doing this activity in order to get the next level role. And if you're already an executive, you need to pull out from your background where you have led projects, and not only were they successful, but they were profitable. Success should be defined by profitability, anytime that you're able to, because that's really, what companies want to see. It doesn't mean that some items aren't going to be done for goodwill or, have a residual, maybe somewhat incalculable effect. That's still a goodwill effect, but you need to, for literally the majority of the bullets on your resume, need to show how what you've taken initiative with in the teams that you've led, that you are doing it with a profitability mindset, because a company's, it's hard to train you in that. And you can't always depend on the finance people for it. So you need to make sure that whatever you do, that you understand the business of your craft or the business of your profession, and you are depicting profitability success in your resume bullets for it to start to elevate, for your resume to start to elevate to being an executive role resume. The fourth item is you want to show that you can create a vision and then delegate to your team to execute that vision. And that can happen, at any level. You want to make sure that you are demonstrating that success, that pattern of success in your resume bullets. Again, whether you are already an executive just looking for another executive role or the next step up type of bigger executive role, or you're in middle management looking for that first executive role, you want to make sure that you are the type of person that the company, upon reading your resume, they're going to see that you have the ability to create a vision. And it's beyond even just setting a goal, but creating a vision and then taking the steps, articulating the steps, and then having those steps executed, not only by you, but by the team that you've, again, attracted, hired, and led. So, the overarching goal in doing these 4 items to create your resume to land an executive role is to show that you have elevated from being a doer to a leader if you're already an executive looking for your next executive role. And if you're in middle management, you want to show how you have already started to elevate from being a doer to a leader. And it doesn't mean you're never going to do again by any means, but as a leader, you need to show that you can motivate and articulate visions to your team, and then they can in turn, be let loose and empowered in order to execute and make that vision happen. So that's really the key. So those are the 4 items. So to make sure that you understand and you want to see all of these 4 items articulated in actual resumes that have landed executive positions, I encourage you to go down into the description there and click on the executive resume samples that are on the Chameleon Resume website. And this way you'll have visual examples that will articulate what I'm talking about here today. And if you want to see this even more in action, also in the description box is going to be a link to my next training, How to Write a Resume to Land a 6-Figure Job Interview. And this way you can really see the different parts of the resume that need to be created and how to create them. So this way you're really, you're very strong on the path of having that resume that's going to land you that next executive role. So again, 2 things that you can check out in the description box, the executive resume sample link on the Chameleon Resumes website, and the link to my next training called How to Write a Resume to Land a 6-Figure Job Interview. And both of these will help you with the goal today. And if you like what you've seen here today, don't forget to like the video, share it to those who you feel would benefit from this information. And also don't forget to subscribe right below this video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel that I've created here, so this way you are notified when the next piece of content comes out, which will be next week. Again, Lisa Rangel, Chameleon Resumes, the premier executive resume writing company, and I thank you for being with me here today. Have a great day.